Hello, welcome to episode 6 of CC Powerslam. This is our Over the Limit Aftermath podcast. And it wasn't that bad a pay-per-view, to be completely honest. Well, in my opinion at least. Let's run through the introductions. First off, we got Master Abbott, otherwise known as Philip Federico.
G'day.
Oh, that's all you got to say, hey? That's all you got to say.
What do you want me to say?
That's all you got
to
to say.
say.
That's all you got to say.
I'll say what I have to say during the podcast. So let's get going.
We'll see about that, won't we?
Yeah. Brother.
Yeah, here he goes. Listen to him. We've also got the man. My man. Jahantib Khan.
Yo.
Is that all you got to say?
Holler if you hear me.
White trash. White trash.
That's good. That's
Oh,
good.
fat ass. Alright. Next up, Dustin Spencer.
Hi.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, man. What is wrong with everyone's sake?
I don't know
What is
what's
so
wrong with these
depressing?
people, man, but
Shit.
honestly, I reckon they need a good smack in the head in the back of the head with a steel freaking chair.
I mean,
Need a match with Ryback.
yeah. Just throw Dustin into the ring with Ryback and then he'll...
Yeah, I think so. I'd watch. I'd pay $100 to sit right at the front and watch that happen.
Man. Yeah, I know it was a bad pay-per-view in general, but come on, there's some good matches, wasn't there, Dustin? Be more lively,
No.
please.
A definitive no.
Alright, next up,
Yeah,
we've got
move along.
newcomer, David Christensen. How you going, mate?
Woo, woo, woo. You know it.
Yeah, I do not know it at all.
Oh, radio, tell me everything.
What the hell are you saying?
Sorry, man. I thought it was.
Why am I getting
thought
so
it was
angry?
intimidating. I
Ah!
thought it was intimidating you, man.
Because
also
you like
have-
Kane squashed Ryder. Sad face.
Alright. We've got, this is a pretty big podcast, biggest one so far. We also have Travis Bruno. Oh my god, what a podcast.
American David.
Yeah, he's American
bring it
David.
up there.
David is Australian Travis. Say hi.
Hello.
Okay. Shall we just jump into this?
We shall.
I believe it's probably the best thing to do,
Oh.
unless you just want to sit here and want to sit here quietly and just twiddle your thumbs. I think we should
Let's
start
just
off.
twiddle our thumbs. Oh, no. Okay, let's go into pay-per-view.
I think which match was make me twiddle my thumbs? The pre-show match.
Yeah.
Zack Ryder versus Kane. The ultimate grudge match.
Oh, yeah. We spoke a bit about this, what's it called, last month's predictions. I'm pretty sure we're all correct in what we said, that Kane squashed Ryder. Ryder got destroyed badly.
Ryder got
Can
some
I- can I-
offense in.
It needs
He
to
did.
stop.
He did get a bit of offense in, and I like his entrance music at least. So at least kind of 30 seconds of music time before the actual match started actually was pretty cool. I actually have to say I enjoyed it. The entrance music.
The best bit about it was when Kane no-sold the broski kick, kicking out before even a 1 count. The ref doesn't even get his arm down. Well, there's not
I love
much.
that.
There's not much to say about this match. It was just like not even a full 2 or 3 minutes.
No.
Kane destroys. And
Wow.
speaking of other destroying matches, there's also a Ryback and Brodus Clay squash, but who really gives a fuck about that? Oh, except Phil, who absolutely loves both of them.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's bad to love new and fresh, exciting characters. instead of
okay,
having the same
I
old
got something to
shit
say about that.
every
Ryback-
frickin' day.
Ryback is nothing but a clone of Goldberg, and Brodus Clay is a fat Ernest the Cat Miller.
Even has the same song.
Yep. Same song.
Look,
The only good thing about-
at least they're new. they're new and they're instead of seeing the same crap fighters every single time, every
But
week.
Brodus does the same exact thing every time. He literally comes out there, headbutts someone, does like a few intimidating faces, and then starts dancing with his two bitches. That is the entire.
You forgot
they are
the
really good
devastating Fat
dancers.
Man Splash. Don't forget that.
Well, that's
forgot about
good.
that.
Yeah, look,
We all
At
know
least it
what
changed
sort
from
of
being a
wrestlers
crossbody.
Phil listens to. We all
there's
know what
nothing wrong with that because the thing is, you end up seeing the same shit from every other WWE superstar every week as well. So it's good to have a bit extra
But
thrown on
But
top.
you
Brodus
just
Clay
like-
has no direction at all right now, and I like Brodus Clay, but he has no direction whatsoever. He just literally exists.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, look, I'm not really going to come to his defense on that one, to tell you the truth. Yeah, he's got to kind of.
He needs a feud. Is what he needs.
Yeah.
Oi,
It was awful seeing the Miz getting squashed. It was awful to see that.
yeah.
I think it was actually. I was actually enjoying. I
Yeah, of
enjoyed the biscuit
Phil
squash.
just likes dominating big men.
I,
Just to abbreviate
Yes.
that. Phil likes
Yes.
Phil likes dominating big men, and it's not a good thing to like. Phil,
Ah well.
I think that tells a
Hey,
lot
to each
about
their
you.
own. To each their own.
I think Phil and Vince McMahon think alike.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
like
I
to be
think so,
dominated.
and that's where the great minds are coming into play here.
And they
Yeah,
both
it-
love cocks.
Yep.
Uh,
Gotta see you do the McMahon strut now, Phil.
yes, I kind of do that once in a while, just to kind of. Anyway, can we continue on with the actual podcast and move on to the next?
Alright, a
Like,
big surprise
it-
with this pay-per-view was the opening
thing I
match,
thought
which was
was-
a battle royal. The winner getting a chance to either compete for the US title or the Intercontinental title the same night.
I actually kind of. I didn't.
one
like
thing I
this
didn't
match.
like
I
about
liked
this,
that It was just announced on the show because when I was watching it, I was just like, "Oh, this is gonna be shit ass pay per view." And this match kind of was a surprise, which I was not expecting to be surprised at all by this pay per view. What were you saying, Travis?
no, when I started watching it, I started watching from the beginning. But if you didn't watch the YouTube show, it seems like the pay-per-view just kind of opens up in the middle of a Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
It's like,
it kinda-
okay.
that was a fuck up.
So if you didn't watch the YouTube pre-show, it's like, okay, there's a Rumble going on. What's this about?
Yes,
Yeah, that was-
I said that too. I think I actually spoke to Luke about that. I said that's weird. Like, what? Why did they start like that? They didn't even bring in the entrances, like the entrancees, like the people coming in at
That
the
was
beginning
all
of
on
the show.
It was a
They didn't even do
Yeah,
anything.
but
mistake they made.
But it's a stupid thing. Like, that's what I was basically saying. I was saying if someone actually purchased, well, the DVD when it does come out, in who knows, in a month or 2 months' time, will that start like that, or will it also
Nah.
contain?
I'm
the
sure all the
Have to.
DVDs are going to contain the pre-show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Moving
that
forward, I think they
means
will
it's okay.
now because for some reason they're pushing the pre-show fucking really hard on.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like
YouTube.
a social media experiment again.
I think all of them will contain it, because especially this one, because it's very confusing otherwise.
yes.
But apart from that, I reckon it was interesting. I liked how William Regal was getting a massive pop from the crowd. I liked
Yes,
seeing that.
I like that.
It was nice seeing
That
him.
was really
I know Dustin was happy to see that.
There's one thing I
Yeah.
liked about this match. Oh yeah, I'll let Dustin go. Go, Dustin.
No, it was a good match, and I was glad to see people who don't get utilized actually utilize it. Looks like they're actually trying to take a few new directions with some superstars that haven't got any attention aside from Superstars, the show. But I will say that as far as this pre-match bullshit, and I will call it that, all they need to do is just forget about this YouTube crap, bring back Sunday Night Heat, and just do it normally.
Yeah.
And see, here's another strange thing about superstars who aren't used anymore. I see JTG, and he looks like Kofi Kingston now. When did that happen?
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm like, who is that?
They said on the pre-show when he comes out, they're like, "Oh, Alicia Fox has given JTG a
Give
new
a makeover.
makeover and a new will to fight and all this sort of stuff." And I was like, "When the fuck did his character change like that?" And he still has his Crime Time music, so it seems so strange because he
Yeah.
doesn't look or act anything like that anymore. So
Getting getting back to the Battle Royal, I was actually really... I saw it, I was surprised by it, and then I was like, oh, this is going to be really interesting. And then Michael Cole in his infinite wisdom goes, and Christian's back. I'm like, I know who's going to win now.
Yeah.
They could just
And
let
they're
us
talking up
make that
so much.
decision ourselves, realize that ourselves, and go, oh, Christian's there, he'll probably win, instead of just telegraphing the whole match and going, and Christian's returned.
Yeah,
He wanted
spent-
William Regal.
he spent so much time talking about Christian, which was a bit sad because it made it a bit too obvious who would win.
Mm.
I did like seeing guys like Tyson Kidd and Alex Riley getting a lot of time in that match, and they actually had some nice spots. Tyson Kidd, I didn't even know that he looks different now. He's got actually hair, not that fucking little fringe shit. And
Yeah, he actually
most of these
performed
people, I'm
well.
like-
he made it all the way to the last 4, I believe, or
yeah,
5.
Alex Riley I think did too. I can't remember who it was.
My honest, well, I think one of you guys said it was good to see Regal back because I think he was very like as soon as his music came out, everyone went like nuts.
Yeah.
And they
I was a bit. It was a little bit sad how they kind of got rid of him a little bit too early. He could have stayed on
Yeah.
for a little bit longer.
He should
But
have been
yeah, I
like in
think
the Final Four or something. That
I
would have
think
been
so,
really
too.
yeah.
Because he was
But I
getting
think
a
that-
huge crowd reaction.
Yeah.
Yep. He's a legend, man. He's a really good. He's a very, very well developed character or fight. Wrestler. He's not. As well as an entertainer. But I think, like what David said. I think as soon as Christian came out, we know who was going to win straight away.
No, Michael Cole's hyping up his return and shit and all that.
Pretty much. It was like, oh well.
But, the thing
Alright,
that
so Christian won that match.
yes, Christian won. He
Turned face.
He originally
Yeah, he's
chose
a
to go
face
for the
character
US
now.
title, but backstage, we're gonna discuss these matches a little bit out of order because it's a bit of an out of order pay per view. But
Yeah.
he backstage overhears Cody Rhodes pretty much bitching about him, so he turns face and decides to go against Cody Rhodes, and he defeats Cody Rhodes in a pretty standard match.
Which made absolutely
I'd
no
say it's
sense
really
to me.
good to see Christian as a face again because I'm a big fan of Christian, and he's been okay as a heel character, but when he last was on TV, he was like this whiny fake injuries and all this type of
That's bullshit. I don't like that.
all these shitty angles, and it's good to see that he's actually back as a face character.
I think
'cause-
Christian's a sort of wrestler that is better as a face than as a heel. That's just my personal opinion. I think as a heel, he's very generic and bland, which I don't like from him.
Mhm.
As a face, I think he's a bit more unique, believe it or not.
I thought it was a really good match he had with Cody Rhodes, even though it was out of nowhere. I think that was the best match Cody Rhodes had so far this year because he's been stuck with the Big Show for such a long time.
This is the one thing I want to say about this Battle Royal and also the match of Christian and Cody Rhodes. Now, there's been people saying, "Oh, why does Christian need the Intercontinental title?" I don't think Christian needs the title at all, but I think the title needs him to try and give it some more prestige, credibility. Christian went from being a world champion to now being Intercontinental champion. I know Big Show did the same, but people don't take Big Show that seriously anymore. It's just a fact of things. But Christian adds some real credibility, and one thing I loved about the Battle Royal was that fucking nearly the whole locker room just cleared out at a chance to become either the United States or Intercontinental champion.
Yeah, she
That's
really
the thing.
wanted it.
That's the best thing I think came from that, was that it made it seem like people genuinely wanted to win those titles.
Yeah. That part was great. The part that really pissed me off was that after the the Intercontinental title match, the commentators were basically laughing at Cody Rhodes suggesting he legitimized the title.
Yeah,
Which sort of dented the whole thing that they'd worked up till now.
That's what
Big
he's-
Show and Cody Rhodes did that as well. But
Cody Rhodes and Big Show rivalry took a
Just
lot of credibility away from the title.
yeah,
In my opinion, that a lot of the stuff that he had built up. So
it went really well until that.
yeah,
feud.
I think in the long run, Cody Rhodes will get it back. Maybe next pay per view.
I hope he doesn't.
Nah,
I
I
hope he
don't
moves on
think
to
so.
bigger things.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's not going to get it back.
You think
not-
he's ready to move on to bigger things, Jahan?
No.
I think he may have a good rivalry with CM Punk if CM Punk remains champion after No Way Out.
That could be interesting. I'm just not sure yet with him. I'm just not sure of Cody Rhodes moving up in the world
But
yet.
he worked a
I
really
don't
good
think
match
so.
with Christian. I thought the match itself was really good. I mean, it had no story or any
Yeah,
special about it. It was pretty much a very
it was
one
a
of the
very
Raw-
well worked match.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure I'm ready for him to go for a bigger title yet. I don't know.
At least a championship match. Even if he loses, at least have him at a main event at some stage this year.
I don't know if he's. I can't remember him ever working with CM Punk, so that could be interesting.
Yeah,
None
exactly.
that I can recall off the top of my head. All right, what's the next match?
Tag match.
The tag. This was my favorite match of the night. Believe
I
it.
agree, man.
I
Absolutely.
actually like this.
100%.
I like this better than Punk versus Bryan.
Oh, 99%. I like Punk Bryan better. I'm biased.
I love Daniel Bryan, but I feel like we'll talk about that a bit later. I feel like I've seen that match too many times now, in the same sort of way. But this match for the tag titles, I was shocked by how long and how good the match was.
Yeah.
There wasn't
absolutely.
much in story behind it, but the fact that they went for I think it was 25 minutes, I believe it was.
I think it was like 15 or 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was long. It was long.
Yeah.
For a tag match. I don't know the exact time. It was long for a tag match, which is something, especially for the tag titles. It's not something that you usually see. There's a lot of nice spots everywhere. It was just solid throughout, and it had
was
a
great
very
how
good ending.
motivated both teams looked. Like they looked like they really wanted to be tag team champions. Not like, oh yeah, whatever, just pin
That's
me.
what they need. They need to have it seem like people actually genuinely want these titles that people don't really care about anymore. It's like when you have people like acting like, oh, being US champions just nothing. When you have people acting like being tag champs nothing, then people are going to view it as that, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, I thought this was a very solid match, and you know I'm very biased when it comes to Ziggler. He's my favourite. So I enjoyed this match a lot, and it was actually my favourite match of the whole night.
It was a classic heel team versus face team kind of match. Very
Yeah.
fast paced.
And
Amazing finish. I loved how it ended. The ending was
Oh,
the best.
The ending was fantastic.
There's excellent chemistry between both teams as well,
Mm.
and both teams have good chemistry with like them amongst themselves as well. Like
And the crowd was really into it too. And you don't see that very often in tag team matches anymore. The crowd was really hot for this match.
it was a great match. What do you think, Dustin?
Well, as far as these four superstars go, definitely. I feel like this Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston. I don't know about R-Truth. I feel like R-Truth's winding down his career, kind of like Finlay, in a way, because he is
40 years old now. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do, however, feel like these four, or at least three of them, are going to be moving to bigger and better things in the future. And this is the future of WWE. And they did, if they're used right, they will anyway. But they did really good in the match. I was impressed. But and it's definitely, I mean, it kind of brought back, even though that these are forced tag teams, like, or of course R-Truth, then Kofi, and even Ziggler and Swagger. Or upper card talent that they squeezed together in a tag team. I was kind of impressed to see that they seemed to work really well, and they pushed it really well. I mean, it seems like they're actually trying to bring back the tag titles as a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
And on that note, it was great to see these guys so motivated and giving such a great performance, because when you have a main event star moving to the mid card, you can see the performance die down with that. Like they just don't care anymore. Like a classic example is Matt Hardy.
Oh,
Like towards the end of his WWE career, he just didn't give a damn anymore.
No.
And a lot of guys, like even The Miz, when he goes from main event to mid card, now he barely performs at the same level he used to do in terms of promos and actual ring performance. Like they lose motivation, and it was great to see these teams perform their absolute best, like as if it was a world title match.
That's what you need. But I just feel like the WWE doesn't have that many passionate individuals anymore, and it's very disappointing. You have people like there was even people in that Battle Royal who that's probably the only pay-per-view they'll be on in the entire year, and some of them I just felt like they didn't even try. Like you have
Well, a lot of them probably were probably told not to try.
oh you just get thrown over. But yeah,
Like the Usos were doing pretty well in the Battle Royal. They were super kicking the crap out of everything that moved.
when there's a Battle Royal,
Surprised
there's
that the
people
Usos
that
are
you
actually doing decent.
when there's a Battle Royal, there's people that you notice and people that you don't notice. The ones that you notice are the ones that actually seem to care. The ones that you don't notice are the ones that are either in there just as fodder to be thrown out, or they're just not trying because they know they're going to just be thrown out.
I know we are past talking about the Battle Royale, but I would like to mention one thing. That's spring cleaning hasn't occurred yet, and it's been rumored for a while, and everyone knows that spring cleaning's whenever they release superstars.
Yep.
Almost everyone in that Battle Royale, in my mind, were on the chopping block, and I feel like the whole point of that Battle Royale, at least backstage politics-wise, was pretty much for them to prove themselves or get out. And I think that's why we've seen such a push in like Tyson Kidd and the Usos especially.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just want to just while we're mentioning that, there's two guys that I am actually surprised still have contracts with WWE. They were appearing, and they have been appearing more frequently lately. Is Tyler Rex and Kurt Hawkins?
Yeah.
What the hell is going on with them?
On the YouTube show for Zack Ryder, he said that Kurt Hawkins didn't have a job anymore, and did a whole montage of his career and everything. So
Really?
I was really surprised to see him on the pay-per-view. I was happy because I really like his character, and I wish that they'd use him more. But yeah.
All right. We talked about the tag team match, the Intercontinental match, and the Battle Royal. Let's move on to another surprise in this pay-per-view, which was the Divas title match.
This match was pretty good. I liked it. I think Layla is proving herself to be very, very competent diva. There was a spot that I really liked with her and Beth when Beth's going for the Glam Slam, and she reversed it. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone reverse out of it. Not in my memory, at least. Because usually when she lifts them up, that's the end. And Layla got out of it, and I was shocked to see Layla get the win. I thought Beth was going to take this,
It was a really good match. Like, they had a good dynamic. The powerhouse versus the faster-paced, match-based kind of wrestler. It was a fairly long match. It was, I think, around 10 minutes long. Much longer than your average Divas match.
Yep.
So they made the most out of that time.
They got some solid time to.
Lots of near falls and counters and reversals. It was a lot of fun to watch, and virtually botch free. At least I didn't notice any botches.
Yeah, I think Layla has really, since her return, she's shocked me, to be completely honest. Because I never thought she was this good, I guess.
Because she always took a backseat to Michelle McCool before she got injured. Yeah.
See, I noticed her, as far as Layla goes, I noticed her being actually really good back in Lay Cool. That's when I first started liking her. It's because, I used to Layla used to do a lot of the work, and Michelle would be the mouthpiece. And that's just kind of how I thought of that team. But I'm glad to see Layla getting a push, but I don't think it's going to, I don't know how long it's going to last, but, because once Karma comes back, it's probably going to be Kelly in the title picture, because you're going to have to see that Barbie shit again.
No.
So.
But yeah, so Dustin, what are your thoughts on the match itself? Beth Phoenix and Layla.
Yeah, the Divas guy.
Well, it was a long Divas match. There's really not anymore. I really don't have much of a preference, because it's usually the same. Beth Phoenix versus this diva, Beth Phoenix versus that diva. I'm glad to see it's Layla this time, but as far as it goes, it's about the same, because
they don't have a lot of combinations.
WWE know that Beth Phoenix is literally one of the only things they have left, because they've literally it isn't really the Divas' fault. It's the fact that they've destroyed, like having Natalia fart and all that. They've literally destroyed the.
I can't even think of any divas that could.
Seems like they kind of dropped that whole storyline thing. Fighting Natalia.
It was stupid as hell.
Ridiculous.
was not funny. I don't know whose stupid idea that was.
I liked how the match ended. It felt like it came out of nowhere to finish. Like she hit a net breaker. It was sort of like a stunner, an RKO kind of finisher. And the announcers did a good job in setting that ending.
How well did Beth Phoenix sell it? It was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It looked so painful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, can I? That's something I wanted to say too. That neck breaker is very, very dangerous if you don't know how to do it right. Because I know that she did that to Nikki. Was it Nikki? And when she won the title, and when she connected with that, freaking hell, I thought her neck snapped. Especially
Nobody
if you
cares,
see the
though.
Nikki one.
She's not with the company.
Yeah, true. But I'm just saying, got to be very careful the way when you see that. Fuck, I cringed when I saw her because when I did it in slow, it was like shit. Her neck went back. And it's like then it was alright. Covered her.
That variation of the neck breaker was used by the Vanishing Rick Rude.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a pretty sick move. It's a good finisher.
It's very scary too if you don't pull it off right.
Yep.
So that was a good finish. She hit it out of nowhere, and the announce team was like, "Whoa, this came out of nowhere." And Beth Phoenix, she did an awesome job setting it.
Well, let's move on to a match that I think didn't have a very good finish. Personally, in my opinion, Sheamus versus Randy Orton versus Del Rio versus Jericho for the world title. This is a pretty standard.
It was a mess.
It was pretty generic, straightforward.
It was 4 1v1 matches. It wasn't a fatal 4-way.
We've seen all
but that's
iterations
how it always
of this
is.
match. We've seen every
always
iteration
had to
of this
fall into
match
that.
before the match even happened.
Yep, on SmackDown and Raw, yeah.
And when we seen it, I was just like, this was the ending of SmackDown the last week. So that's what the whole match was. It was just pretty much what we'd already seen. And even then, I thought the finish of the match was very, very, very weak. We have everyone hitting all their finishes, and then Sheamus hits his very weak-looking Celtic cross that he calls the white noise.
White noise. Oh, wow.
I think that was... I wish he would stop using that as a finisher. And
It was a very short Fatal 4-Way match. Like for a Fatal 4-Way, it was really, really short, and all it was a battle of finishers and signature moves.
pretty much. That's what you usually get in Fatal 4-Ways. But the problem was that was happening right from the get-go. It wasn't even any sort of real back and forth or anything. The whole finisher clusterfuck just happened pretty early on, and then by the time it reached the end...
Yeah, it was stop and start, though. Like, you'd have like this big spot where someone would get knocked out of the ring, and then it'd slow right back down, because now they realise, it's 1 versus 1 while the other 2 are unconscious.
It was a bit of a chaotic Fatal 4-Way, to be completely honest.
That's how Fatal 4-Ways have always been. Okay, so I don't know. You guys shouldn't really be... if you want to think of it, at least 90% of them, 85% of them are always going to be... They start off bashing, maybe in the ring at the same time, 2-on-2, kind of smacking each other out, and then maybe 2-on-1, and then one goes for the pin, and then they get the shits with one another, and then those two start attacking themselves.
It was too much of a generic, standard, straightforward Fatal 4-Way with some real bad clusterfuck moments.
But Phil, on that note, you can still have a compelling story even with these kind of matches. Like if you remember the main event of WrestleMania 20, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and a certain Canadian grappler
who shall never be named again.
Yes,
who never existed.
Yeah.
So that match was amazing. It wasn't a clusterfuck of finishers, but it told a story.
Yep.
And
I agree. I agree.
There can be good ones, but I do agree with you, Phil. The majority of these types of matches are just
always turn out
clusterfucks.
like that.
The same generic sort of storytelling. Del Rio and Jericho were working together.
Yeah.
Jericho went for the pin. Del Rio
got mad. Here we go. Del Rio and Jericho fight for a while the other two take a break.
Then Randy Orton comes in, RKO's Del Rio. Bro kick on Jericho.
You know what the funny thing about it is? What the fuck? Like, I know the cameras that never show it, but what the fuck do they do? They just fly around on the floor, breathing, like, waiting, counting
they gotta
to 20.
Be,
they count to 20 and then, okay, my turn.
Yep.
Pretty much, yeah.
Just lay outside.
It's pathetic, man. From the amount of time, like, from what I've seen in my 20, 30 years of this wrestling shit, nothing changes, man. It's always the same shit.
Yep.
And what Jahan said is right. You might get a diamond once in a while with WrestleMania 20, but then in the end, it turns out to be exactly the same. You know, the only one I kind of enjoy because they can't fuck off, because they're all in one ring and they can't get away, is the Elimination Chamber, because the
That's right.
bastards are
yeah, but
in.
they still kind of do that.
Yeah, okay, true. But they're in. They can't fuck off. You can see everybody, so therefore they
Actually,
can't go
Phil,
under
do you
the
remember
ring.
this match? 6-man Hell in a Cell at Armageddon. It had Kurt Angle and
I
Triple
like
H
that
and
match.
The
I
Rock.
recommended
All
that.
Yeah,
six
that
of
was
them.
a good match.
Everyone was doing something in that match. There was
Yes.
no one taking a break.
There was always
No.
something happening. And they had a mad spot with Rikishi getting chokeslammed off the...
yeah, I remember that.
He deserved that nap.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's different, and that's what I'm saying. You get some good matches, and then you get some,
yeah.
and that's what we
I
experienced.
think this was just very, very bland. And the ending was just so... I don't know. With all the time Sheamus was taking to hit that finisher, you think someone else would have ran in and stopped it.
Yeah.
That whole everything else, everyone was running in, stopping it, even if they just took a friggin' RKO or something.
Which is a pretty fast finisher. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. It was very, yeah.
I'm just bored to death of all four of the participants in that match.
Yeah.
Randy Orton has gave me no reason to care about Randy Orton in the past year. Sheamus is still Sheamus. I mean, it's almost
Sheamus has
exactly
improved.
the same.
I'll disagree with Sheamus there.
I will as well. I think he has improved. I just wish he would stop doing that stupid Celtic cross.
Noise.
I think he has improved. His match at Extreme...
I literally despise Alberto Del Rio so much. I
okay.
find him so boring and generic. And there's a level of generic. I don't know. Cody Rhodes used to be generic. Alberto Del Rio has not made any difference whatsoever since he joined the WWE to me at all. And he's a horrible, it's just a horrible character. I cannot stand him.
How about Jericho, Dustin?
Oh, don't get me started. Jericho.
I've already shared my opinion on Jericho in previous podcasts. He's in it for himself, and he doesn't ever really try to do much for anyone other than himself. When it comes
Can I
to doing
just say
a
something
spot,
about Jericho here?
yeah, go ahead.
This past year, since he's returned, he has not won once at a pay-per-view.
Nope.
Not once. And it makes me wonder, what was the point of his big return? Why was the point of hyping it up so much if it was mounting to nothing?
Because it was a double hype. It was they didn't know if they were going to get Undertaker back or Jericho back, so they played it as both of them, and then...
And it was supposed to be Sting, too. There was Sting rumors all the time. There's always a Sting
There's
rumor.
always Sting rumors. And he won't
Anytime
do
there's
it
a promotion, it's Sting.
because he's a god over in TNA, but if he comes to WWE, he'll have to start at the bottom.
Actually, I don't mind Jericho because he's actually just putting guys over. Like, he did a great job putting Punk over at Extreme Rules. That was one of the best matches of the year. His Chicago Street Fight.
I'll give you that. He did help push Punk further, but like, look at the Royal Rumble for instance. What was the point of him even going to the last two when both him and Sheamus ended up going on to WrestleMania?
That was to throw the internet wrestling community off, and we're talking about the internet wrestling fans in our next match.
Okay, this match, Punk vs. Bryan, is this the battle of two of the internet's darlings, Punk and Bryan. Both came up through the indies. This match had pretty much no storyline really at all. On-screen storyline. I'm sure they had Twitter wars or whatever the hell WWE considers counting as a story anymore. But the match itself was very, very good. It was very
excellent match.
Excellent match. Don't get me wrong. My problem is, we've seen this before. On SmackDown, on Raw, a couple months back, before WrestleMania, they were having these matches, and they always end the same way, in that ridiculous, controversial finish. Because they refuse to give the fans a conclusive answer of who wins this match. We've had Daniel Bryan win by like controversial means. Same with CM Punk. Laurinaitis rang the bell, whatever. it's just, I wish we would just get a solid ending to one of these things. Instead, we
Yeah, I did not like the ending of this match where CM Punk gets the pinfall, but he taps out at the same time. We've seen it happen so many times before.
Yeah, that was the thing that annoyed me is CM Punk forgot to tap at
It
the
was
same
botched.
time.
It botched it.
Yeah,
He
it was a little
botched it. So you're just like, how is this controversial? And then they even showed the slow-mo of the fuck-up. I don't...
Yeah, and then they were
Messed up,
acting like
yeah.
they were acting like it was still controversial.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean,
It's,
Brian
you know
has
what?
to do
He
his
probably
job and play his part.
he probably didn't hear the referee probably count.
Referee.
Yeah, he kind of probably didn't hear the shoulder 1, 2, 3 up. Too late counting now.
There's
too late.
been a
fucked
fair
up.
amount of screw-ups lately this past week in WWE. We'll get onto one of them later on. But what did you think of this match in general? Dustin, Travis, want to chime in here?
Travis?
But-
Hello.
Stay with me, Travis.
Oh, hey.
Stay with me.
Well, personally, I thought it was actually a really good match with the wrestling and back and forth, but I have to agree with everybody else. Like, the ending was pretty shitty. I mean, how many times have we seen... And it wasn't even, like, something close. Like, oh, well, CM Punk was roll him over into a pin. No. It was just Daniel Bryan putting on his submission
Yes
move
lock.
even tighter. Yes, the yes lock. I almost called it the crossface, but... His yes lock even tighter, and instead he put himself onto his own shoulders. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, Punk rolled him over. It was Daniel Bryan's own doing. So it's not like it was even...
Yeah, it was very peculiar. I'll say that.
I was like, okay, why that even happen? There's just so they can not put the belt on Bryan?
And here's the funny thing. They've had this spot before with Kane and a certain Canadian grappler.
They also used the crossface type move with
Yep,
the yes lock.
with that match, Kane tapped out, and they counted that as a submission. They didn't care about the pinfall in that match. So it's a bit weird how they handled this finish.
WWE changes their rules all the time. I didn't even
Yeah.
know that no disqualifications is allowed in a fatal four-way until
Yeah.
over the limit. They're like,
They're-
oh, he can use any weapon he wants in this match. There's no rules in a fatal four-way. And I was literally just cringing when they said that. I'm like, you're just rewriting the rules as you go.
Pretty much.
No, that's actually been around for a while. Like,
Yeah.
I've known that for a while.
But
Really?
they won't say it. Like, sometimes fatal four-ways are really clean matches, no
Well,
weapons
they
involved.
usually are clean,
one didn't
but
have any
sometimes they usually always don't have any disqualifications. Like, I mean, even if there was disqualifications, I mean, oh well, Jericho hit Sheamus with a chair. Does that mean Sheamus now keeps the belt? I mean,
Yeah.
what about the other two?
Yeah, it does
I mean-
make things a little complicated. I understand
Yeah.
where you're coming from. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So, I mean, excellent match from a technical standpoint, but literally no build-up. All he did was post an article on WWE.com talking about the indie circuit. It was a very hipster kind of wrestling match.
I love how they try to push stories through Twitter and their website and Facebook and expect us all to fucking follow them on everything and know every fucking little thing. Follow, 100 superstars to know every single thing that's going on, every storyline. It's just such bullshit. Oh, I just signed on to AW Stable. Ha ha ha. Who the fuck? Mason Ryan, apparently, I know this is going off track. Mason Ryan apparently signed on to AW, whatever his
Abraham
name is.
Washington.
All
Yeah.
world promotions.
Yeah, onto that stable. And they announced it through Twitter.
Who cares about that stable? Like, usually when a stable is building in the wings, you're like, oh, these guys are going to be scary. But it's Primo, Epico,
man,
and
I'm-
Mr. Never stays for more than a couple of weeks.
I'm shitting my fucking undies over this match.
Yeah, I know. It's terrifying, isn't it?
Oh.
Phil, what are your thoughts on this Bryan and Punk match?
It was very well. It was a good technical battle between both of them, but it kind of wasn't something that really made me excited. Like I actually, to tell you the truth, I actually enjoyed Punk and Jericho's
Yep. So would you agree
match.
there was a lack of passion and emotion in this
yeah,
match?
yeah. You know
Definitely.
what? I don't know why, but I enjoyed the pre-shit before it all started. Like, the stuff that happened, where Brian was sitting down at Raw, SmackDown, and then he smacked Kane in the back of the, with the chair and then through the.
This is the
like
thing
that sort of shit. I enjoyed more than the actual match. And then I liked when CM Punk was making fun of Vince McMahon, and then he goes, "Who the hell are these guys?" Like he was making fun of Vince McMahon's talking and shit like that. I thought that was more interesting than the actual match, and I'm sorry to say that, but it was really kind of boring. And then in the end, of course, with the fuck up, then they even bring the replay into it, and then I think Cole or even King said, "Oh, he got him fair. He got him fair. So what's the point of this?"
And now Daniel Bryan comes out on Raw saying,
"Yeah,
I was cheated out of it." Then he shows
the
video and
show the cut footage.
Yeah, and then they're all like, "Oh, what a controversial finish and all that."
How? It's all bullshit, mate. You got no leg to stand on.
It's just like something that makes no sense about the next match: John Cena versus Laurinaitis.
Let's call him Johnny Ace.
Johnny Ace.
Big Johnny.
In his freaking bodysuit.
People power.
I'm not even going to bother to call this a match, because this was not a match. This was a joke.
It was an embarrassing thing to watch.
Yep.
What do you think, Phil? Your man,
Big
Show, came into this match and turned heel.
Didn't I say that? Didn't the entire world know that?
It's so obvious.
Predicted
The
it.
entire world knew that. I think even my grandmother and my cat and my dog and my fish and even this, I'm looking at a stone, would have actually known that
Stone?
as well. Yeah, stone, not Stone Cold Steve Austin, but
Just a stone that you found in your hands.
Yeah, he even Barry knows that it would have that would have happened.
It was
it's
obvious.
just pathetically stupid. I like how at one point during the match, during the show, Teddy Long was all happy and he was going, "Oh, you guys might get fired," to who was it, to
Eve and
Eve.
Eve, yeah, like to those
useless
guys and
coffee.
it's like,
Otunga.
what's the complete waste of time and effort. It was going to happen. It was just going to be a complete rip-off. Big Show's going to come back and be a big badass for the next pay-per-view, and then he's probably just going to fall back off and disappear into the world of unknown.
My problem here is that Laurinaitis is involved with too many different feuds. He's like feuding with everybody pretty much. He's got some kind of connection with nearly every single rivalry that's happening in the entire WWE right now, which is completely fucking ridiculous. And why should we care about any of this when it's so convoluted that none of it's really making any sense anymore? Like, okay, I think we all agree that it was a pretty shit match. Not even a match.
Should have been on Raw, not on a pay-per-view.
Exactly.
Here's what happens on Raw. Big Show comes
All the
out.
matches.
Big Show comes out and he says, "Oh, I joined Johnny because all of you didn't sympathize with me when Johnny fired me." Okay, so you join up and help out the guy who fired you. That doesn't make any sense to begin with. Then John Laurinaitis goes and says, "Oh, I signed him to a contract on Saturday before the
Which
pay-per-view."
means he should be fired.
Yes, which means he should be fired. So later on in the night, oh shit, we fucked up. So they
Michael
have to go.
Cole goes into repair mode.
Yeah, it goes into repair mode. Oh, he signed a verbal contract, which in actuality doesn't make that much sense either, because why would Big Show take the word of the man that went so far as to publicly humiliate him in front of the entire world? Why would he trust the word of this man? It does not.
Because it's always the fans' fault, man.
Ah, you goddamn fans. Look, the thing is, there's easier ways to make Big Show a heel than this. And I just don't think...
Well, that's where it was going, mate. That's how it always was. You could see it, you could smell it, it was going to happen.
I
It's
knew
going
he
to
was
turn
going to
into
go
a
heel, but it could have been
that's it.
so many other ways.
But you know what? This could potentially grow into something better. I think, hopefully, maybe.
Not with the Big Show.
Well, maybe the Big Show. Maybe they could use the Big Show to take a title, and then someone else who's up and coming could potentially take it off him to give them a
Well,
boost.
can you imagine if Cody Rhodes turns face? and has a match with Big
Nah.
Show.
Has he been facing his whole career?
Because Big Show, as far as what Big Show is best used, and we've seen that within the past few months. Big Show is best used and has always been best used as having build-ups with or people who are trying to get their main event push. He is not good at being in the main storyline for any show.
Look what he did for Daniel Bryan.
Look what he did for Cody Rhodes. That's what Big Show does. That's what Big Show's always done.
Brock Lesnar.
And every single time he gets in one of these feuds for a main event, for a title push, it doesn't matter what it is, it becomes, he always usually turns heel over it, or he does some little stupid ass storyline that's involved where he's helping out the other guy.
Who's he going to put over here? Who's he going to put over? John Cena?
We don't know yet. John Cena, but no, I think there's
John Cena
potential
doesn't
for
need to be
someone
put
else.
over. He's John Cena.
I know, that's why it makes no sense. And it's, you know what's going to come out. They're going to feud. It's going to be like, oh, John Cena can't lift the Big Show. We've seen it 1,000 times.
But he's lifted the Big Show so many
We
times.
all know that, but that's what Cole's going to scream out. Oh, he can't lift the Big Show and Johnny Ace and blah, blah, blah.
Don't forget the in-and-out injured arm. Don't forget that.
Oh, everyone's arm is injured on and off all the time.
Yeah.
I think WWE has just generally fucking went downhill since they dropped the whole Brock Lesnar angle. Since they dropped it and faded off into the background, they've pretty much been scattering and trying to rustle up some kind of plot, but they're failing.
The best thing I can see coming from this whole Big Show thing is maybe they want the Big Show to injure John Cena so he can go away and deal with his personal stuff that's going on.
I think that's what
bothers me. Why is John Cena?
And they didn't.
I think they should have just made John Cena go away after the Brock Lesnar thing, which was clearly the original intent if you had seen the promo John Cena cut after his match at Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
Then for some reason, they suddenly last minute decide to have John Cena feud with Laurinaitis, which really is just another person for Laurinaitis to feud with when he's already on and off feuding with CM Punk, on and off feuding with pretty much everyone. Somehow he's like got some kind of involvement in the whole Brock Lesnar thing. Then it's just too much shit is going on. He's got the whole storyline with Teddy Long still hanging there, waiting to be resolved in some manner.
And this Alexander and that, I don't know, Italian guy.
He's just involved in everything, and that's not what it should be, because he's not good enough.
I will say one thing about John Laurinaitis. He can still take bumps. I'll give him that much.
Yes, I'll say that. But I just honestly don't believe he's good enough to carry so many different angles at once. You see him fuck up all the time, make mistakes. I don't know whether it was his mistake or the script was mistake or something about this. Oh, I saw him on Saturday. I don't know what that was, but I really think they need to just have more focus. Instead, everything's scattered. Laurinaitis seems to be making a stable completely dropped. What's going on with that? Oh, I've just got these guys that help me out every now and then. Tyler Rex and Kurt Hawkins are now involved.
Yeah.
It's definitely a mess, and it seems like what WWE are really trying to do, and it feels like they're trying to recreate an Eric Bischoff. Because if you remember, Eric Bischoff came in and did almost the same thing. He got involved with everyone. There was 3-minute warning where he was randomly doing this, that, trying to recreate the show. But it doesn't really seem like there's a sole or Eric Bischoff wanted to rebrand Raw, or rebrand his own show. As far as Laurinaitis goes, he doesn't really seem to have a focus, and that's what's really making everything crumble. He just wants to do all these things, and it gives really no purpose behind any of his actions.
I don't know.
They should bring Bischoff back, sorry.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
His son's apparently the future of wrestling in TNA. So I don't think he's going to be leaving TNA anytime soon. Especially when he's that much of a rising star.
Like, I agree with what Dustin said here, but I think Laurinaitis has potential to do more. Like, if you saw that match, he took chair shots and some bumps there. I'm pretty sure he could wrestle if he wanted to.
I think he can, but I think the thing they need to do is to just reel him back in and give him a sole focus. Not have him loosely involved in everything.
With everything, yeah.
It's just cheap and easy booking that is just not fun to watch, really.
See,
like,
going back to
okay,
what Dustin said,
who's
Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff wasn't the kind of guy who would constantly get involved with feuds. He was the backstage guy. He stayed backstage. He would come out and cut a promo once in a while.
Yeah.
He'd have maybe 1 or 2 matches with like Shane McMahon or maybe on Raw. Like he'd have a match with John Cena on Monday Night Raw or something like that. But
Yeah,
other
like,
than that,
look
he
at
wouldn't book himself in the main event of a pay-per-view.
yes, like look at it how it is. It's just like, okay, we can't think of anyone to be a heel in this. Let's just go and make Laurinaitis somehow involved. And Laurinaitis did it. Oh, who would do this to CM Punk? Laurinaitis. Who would do this? Laurinaitis. It's just the easy way out, and it's really lazy booking.
Mm.
Especially considering they usually never have a payoff. Like, how many storylines have we seen with Laurinaitis that, oh, maybe it's some big like stable's gonna happen or something like this.
No payoff. Nothing.
No, nothing happens.
The team Laurinaitis disbanded after WrestleMania.
Yep.
Both teams immediately disbanded. Like, nothing happened.
Everyone's going to be getting some kind of something in their future. Oh, Miz, big things to come. Getting squashed by Brodus Clay. Pre-show as well. No, it's just absolutely ridiculous. They need to move on from all of this as soon as possible, and hopefully No Way Out will be the end of this crap, because I think moving into SummerSlam, they're going to be trying to push for more focused storylines, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Alright, so overall thoughts on the pay-per-view. It wasn't good, I'll say this much, but it could have been a lot worse.
I expected it to be much worse, I'll say that. It was not good, but it had good moments.
Mm.
Overall, it was a mess. It was average, but it had...
Especially the main event. That was...
That killed all my excitement and everything from CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, technical clinic sort of match, you know? But I think it was just an average show altogether.
John Cena's shenanigans is not the taste you want to leave in people's mouth after a pay-per-view that was surprised them to be better than they thought it would be, and then end with that. It was just...
Alright, well, we're gonna start wrapping things up. We've got a question to read out from our many letters we've been sent. This question is from Jesse. Jesse asks, who has the best finisher in WWE?
Are you talking about current WWE or in general WWE?
In general WWE. Jesse doesn't give much details here. So, okay, let's just go around. We'll all just say a finisher that we particularly like. Yeah.
Alright, starting with you. Yeah.
This is starting with me. Great.
Yeah.
I think the best finisher in my opinion of all time is the stunner. I know it's a generic one, as generic as they come. Oh, the stunner. Oh, rock bottom, whatever. It's like that. The stunner, for me, it was like the RKO is today. It was out of nowhere. It looked painful, and it was just a really iconic looking move. It was very surprising, and
very historic moments with this move. Like,
yes, whenever someone got hit by this, whenever someone got hit by this move, you knew, oh, shit has just gone down.
Donald Trump is one of the victims too.
Yeah, like, and they bring him back every once in a while just to do this move, pretty much. So, I think that's in my opinion the best finisher of all time.
All right, so my turn now. On that similar note, a finisher that comes out of nowhere, the sweet chin music.
Oh, beautiful move. Beautiful.
It's one of those finishers that can change the pace of a match in an instant. Like, it just takes 1 second to hit the move. It comes literally out of nowhere. Like, even with the RKO or the stunner, you can see a setup somewhere. But the sweet chin music literally just connects, right? Like, one example is WrestleMania 21. Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels. And when you hit that sweet chin music on Angle, you just don't ever see it coming. And great impact. You can hear the kick throughout the arena. Everybody sort of flinches their head when they see it happen.
Yep.
And tells a great story. especially WrestleMania 24, Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels. Shawn looks like Rick and says, "I'm sorry, I love you," and switching music to, he's like putting the trigger on him. That was an amazing moment. So
Yeah, it's
another a finisher that can tell an amazing story.
Yep. What about you, Phil?
Okay, for me, it comes down to a finisher that was at one time in the history of WWE was, in my opinion, was very, very, very deadly. But now it's now being used very, everywhere. Everyone uses it. There's no impact on it anymore. It's lost. It's, what do you call it? It's focus. It's power. It's love. It's passion. Everything, because it's just been overutilized by everybody.
What's this?
And I'm not sure if you guys know, but I'm gonna go with Jake the Snake's DDT.
I knew that was coming. And
I was thinking the elbow drop.
No. Well, I think
agree with
in my honest, in my opinion, the DDT when of course back in the day when wrestling was still growing, the DDT was probably one of the most devastating, scariest moves ever. When they put it, my God, did you see what he did? He put him in the head, he rammed his head into the, he's gone. Oh, it's like shit. Can you imagine that? Like now, everybody's using it. It's just lost its focus. It's just a piece of a rubbish move now. Like,
I still very sad. Because I remember one of the last few guys who used it was Tommy Dreamer as a finisher. And Raven. And Sting still uses a reverse DDT as a finisher, the Scorpion Death Drop. And people still...
Oh, yeah.
And I agree, I love the DDT. Like, whenever I create myself in a wrestling game, I give myself a DDT. I love that move.
Yeah.
It's just one of those iconic moves.
Yeah.
Really.
It's sad. It's sad now that it's just been overutilized and it's not as powerful as it was, because as soon as Jake the Snake hit that was it, and everyone loved it. And was you waiting for it, even when he put his hand up in the air and he twirled it around, bang.
Let's not forget Mick Foley.
Mick Foley has a very double
underarm DDT. Yeah.
Yeah, but then what you got, that's true. Once again, utilized and recreated.
Randy Orton.
The point I'm trying to make is, like, when guys like Mick Foley still use it as a finisher, it still has some respect. The DDT. So
everybody does a DDT nowadays, though. Even just a basic move.
It's just a normal move these days.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, really. I agree with Phil.
I think that oh crap, I've got to remember his name now. McIntyre has really brought a bit more.
His one's like he jumps into it, doesn't he?
Double underhook and then throws himself backwards.
Yeah.
The people that take it really sell it, and they really hit the ground hard, and it just looks devastating.
Yep.
Too bad McIntyre is getting buried.
I thought he was released.
He's still around.
The whole storyline with him being fired just kind of...
It went nowhere.
Faded.
It went nowhere. Alright, who's next? David.
I've been trying to think, like, which ones... because there's a few I like, but...
come on, I bet you like Santino's Cobra.
Good God, no. Like, it's a great
I just
comedy move, but... I don't know. I'm a sucker for a diamond cutter or an RKO, so I'll have to go with the RKO.
Hey, here's a funny fact for you, David. Yeah. Who invented the cutter? It was Big Johnny. It was Big Johnny.
With the Ace Crusher.
He invented this move. So there you go.
I find that actually quite funny.
But the RKO just they hits it out of nowhere. Some of the really amazing ways that he's used it, like leapfrogging people and then jumping backwards into it, or twisting out of the pedigree into a RKO, or my favorite.
I love that spot. Yeah,
swinging out of the twist of fate into an RKO.
Say what you will about Randy Orton's character or whatever, but that move, he's really popularized it and made it iconic.
But he kind of messes up when he hits it on big guys. I don't know if it's his fault or
I think it's a lot of time the big guys, particularly Big Show, who just doesn't land it properly. Just looks like he just jumps up in the air himself and falls down.
Yeah.
And Kane always lands on his knees.
But Kane does that for everybody. Even pedigrees, he does that. He just won't land flat. He won't take the bump.
Some people, I think Kane might have something where he can't even stretch his legs out fully. I don't know. Looks fucking weird when he does it.
Yeah,
Might have a Matt Hardy syndrome where he can't move his
Oh,
hips properly.
speaking of the Diamond Cutter, David, do you remember that match, the Diamond Dallas Page versus Goldberg for the WCW title?
In the cage?
No, it was a singles match, and it was a good match because he hit 2 Diamond Cutters in that match, and it was seen as a very big deal that Goldberg kicked out of it. And when the match was over, Goldberg shook his hand.
Hmm.
It was one of those really rare classic Goldberg matches, and it was with DDP.
Alright. Travis.
I'd have to go with Goldberg's jackhammer.
Oh,
It's like when he just when he'd hold them up in the air for like sometimes even for the lighter people, he'd hold them for like almost a minute and like just walk around the ring with them and then just slam them down.
no.
It always felt very vicious, and he always shook the ring whenever he did it.
Ryback needs a finisher like that. His current one sucks. in
Yeah,
my
his
opinion.
current one's not that good. If they want him to try to be the next Goldberg, they got to give him some stronger, more
Yeah, he needs
impactful
something
moves.
more impactful. I like his backpack stunner move,
Yeah.
but I don't think it looks as impactful as the jackhammer does. I still remember when Goldberg did the jackhammer on the Giant or Big Show.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I love that. Alright, Dustin.
The sleeper.
Yeah.
There you go. There you
Dustin-
go. I think Dustin's favorite
sleeper
move would
hold.
be the sleeper hold. Made famous
Made
by
famous by
a lot
Bobby-
of wrestlers. Roddy Piper when he put adorable
No,
Adrian
no,
Adonis to
no.
sleep at WrestleMania. I think, and he shaved his hair. I think that could be the reason. That could be the reason why he loves the sleeper hold.
What is your favorite move, Dustin? Favorite
Wow,
finisher?
didn't realize I zoned out there. But no, Phil already said my move, so
The DDT.
It's
Oh,
actually-
the DDT.
it is the DDT. And my
High
reaction,
five.
and my response to it's a little different because I feel a lot like Jahan's reasoning goes into the DDT because I feel like the DDT tells even nowadays it tells more of a story, and every single wrestler brings about a different way of pulling it off. And that's definitely, I mean, you can have like a lower Carter. I remember Crash Holly used to run up the top or run around the turnbuckle and then swing them around and do his DDT.
Yeah, like
Hey,
Trent
every
Beretta
single-
does.
Do what?
Like Trent Beretta does now. He runs off the ropes instead, but he does that.
Yeah, it's more like a kick, but there's so many different ways to do it, and it also tells a story because if the match is long, or it's usually it used to be kind of a struggle to get off the DDT whenever the match was long because you'd have to pull them down or for instance they just pull them down really fast or slow. You just see how much momentum goes into it based on how long or devastating the match was. And the more momentum that goes into it, the more devastating it looks, and the more likely that they're not going to kick out.
I think any
And-
move that you get dropped on your head, it looks very devastating.
So that's pretty much mine. I mean, of course, I'm really partial to the cut or any kind of cutter as well. I'm not.
Yeah.
I guess the RKO. I'm kind of bored with. It's still a great move, but and I've always liked the twist of fate as well. So I don't know. That's just.
All right, let's move on. We got one last thing before we wrap up. We're going to talk about worst matches of all time.
In our views, and we can recommend you to watch these matches.
You're going to watch these matches because they're so bad they need to be seen to be believed.
Hmm.
All right, Jahan,
Luke,
do you want
there's
to?
a match. I think Luke, there's a match you've been dying to share.
Okay, I'll start off. It's actually okay. There's two matches in a way. One match kind of kicks off into this other match. Halloween Havoc 1995. We spoke. I think I mentioned this briefly on the last podcast. Halloween Havoc 1995 was main evented with Hulk Hogan versus the Giant, or now known as Big Show. I'll just say Big Show so newer viewers can understand who we're talking about. Hulk Hogan versus the Big Show for the WCW title in a monster truck sumo match. Now, basically, what happens here is there's two monster trucks on top of the roof of the building trying to push one another outside of a circle. Now, it's pretty standard, and this went on for about 5 minutes of just two monster trucks pushing at one another for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Then afterwards, Hulk Hogan wins by pushing Big Show's monster truck out. Then after the match, Hulk Hogan and Big Show get in a bit of a scuffle. Big Show comes off the side of the building. Now everyone thinks Big Show is dead, and he falls off the side of the building into the Detroit River, sea, whatever it is, ocean, whatever, and he's apparently dead. Later on in the night, Hulk Hogan comes out. He's cutting a promo saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry for accidentally killing the Big Show." Then, Big Show has risen from the dead. Here comes the Giant, along with the rest of the Dungeon of Doom, and here comes one of the most horrible matches you'll ever see. It's Hulk Hogan versus the Giant in WCW Halloween Havoc 1995. I'm not going to spoil it. Let's just say a mummy or Yeti is somehow involved in the match. And there's quite a little bit of gyration going on. I won't say anything. I won't spoil it. You just have to see it to really, truly appreciate how awful this match was. So, Halloween Havoc 1995, Hulk Hogan versus the Giant. Look it up. Alright. Jahan.
Alright, going on team of WCW, and again Halloween Havoc, this is 1998. Now, Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan had one of the best main event matches at WrestleMania.
Yep.
That match is still considered to be a classic. However, lightning doesn't always strike twice. The match they had at Halloween Havoc in WCW was heavily botched. There was literally no in-ring chemistry. It has a spot where Hogan tries to throw a fireball on Ultimate Warrior's face, but he accidentally sets the fireball on his own face. He burns his eyebrows and eyelashes off, pretty much. And the ending involved his nephew coming in and touching Ultimate Warrior with the steel chair, not hitting, but touching. And he goes down for the 3 count. And it was so bad that Ultimate Warrior still hasn't recovered from the bad rep he got from working that match. People still talk about it and remember him for that match.
Oh man. Well,
So that's a classic case where a rematch can be a very bad idea.
yeah. Alright, who wants to go next? Dave?
Sure. I was originally going to go with Shane Douglas versus Billy Kidman in a Viagra on a pole match from WCW. But I actually decided to go with something else that I remembered. SummerSlam 2005, Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan, and Shawn Michaels takes the tiniest of moves and oversells it to hell.
This was beautiful.
He rolls around the ring from like a slap, he flips over the ropes and runs around outside the ring and then falls down from a big boot. It's hilarious, ridiculous, and a really crap match.
Yes, I really think that's one that people should watch. Also, the Viagra on a pole match.
Oh, okay, it's a perfect example of how not to sell a move. Dolph Ziggler is an excellent example of selling finishers, but Shawn Michaels isn't.
Yeah, not in this match.
He was marking Hogan because Hogan's always the Hulk up, doesn't sell any moves.
Yep.
Guy, and it was just funny as hell. But also, he didn't make much of a match because you were just like, God, he's just gonna keep flailing about like every move is dynamite.
Yep, that's what happens when 2 big egos collide in the ring.
Yep. Alright. Next. Dustin.
The sleeper. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sleeping. I was having some technical difficulties. We'll just say technical difficulties. But I have a lot of bad matches. I have a lot of them, and it's so hard to choose one. So I'm just going to name off a few that come to mind. Last year, the most recent one of memory that I really just thought, what the fuck's the point, was, I believe it was Hornswoggle versus Jack Swagger's Soaring Eagle.
I remember
It was on SmackDown of last year. That was pretty lame, and there was really no point in it whatsoever. Another honorable mention goes to when Vince McMahon fought HBK and God.
That
was. It's just.
the lights down.
It's just. I mean, but there's. I don't know. But I guess my coup de grace goes of one of it was in 2003, and it's sad that looking back, it doesn't seem as bad as a lot of the things we've been treated to. But I think it was in 2002 or 2003, and it was when Vince McMahon and I forgot who he tagged with.
Shane McMahon.
No, it wasn't Shane McMahon, but Vince McMahon tagged with someone, and I can't think of it right off the bat. It was a big super. I want to say it might have even been Brock Lesnar, but I'm not totally sure on that. Yes. Versus Stephanie McMahon and Zach Gowen.
It was Brock Lesnar.
Yep. It was Brock
Definitely
Lesnar.
Brock
But
Lesnar.
that was just a sad match, and it was a very sad match because any match with Zach Gowen always ended usually in the same way with him trying. I don't know. It was. One-legged people should not wrestle, and I know that sounds really biased to all you one-legged fans who have a dream, but it just doesn't, I don't know, at least not in WWE where they take advantage of it, but that was pretty terrible.
Yeah, I think that's the best good
They
point
really
there.
made fun of it instead of celebrating.
Yeah, they made fun of his condition or whatever, but yeah, there's so many. I could literally go on for hours because I'm pretty cynical when it comes to wrestling in general. But that was pretty terrible. That was pretty terrible. So I'll just go with those.
I just remembered one that I want to mention before we go into Travis. It was Al Snow versus the Big Boss Man in a Kennel of Hell match.
Oh, you suck. That's one I was going to mention.
Travis, why don't you take this one?
I'll let you talk about this one. I'll let you talk about this
Just,
one.
it's terrible. Like, the dogs, the whole concept is it's a cage within what appeared to be like a smaller Hell in a Cell type cage. And the dogs were around the ring. They were Rottweilers, but they were just so messed up that they were spent like the whole match just too busy trying to go after each other and just shitting on the floor. And then the match itself just was terrible. So slow. I mean,
the finish was botched as well.
there's like no reason to even have anything with the dogs in there, and it's just bad.
The dogs were frightened, and they were trying to make more dogs during the match.
Yeah, like the shot, that's gotta be one of the worst.
There's a hilarious overdub commentary by Mick Foley and I think Kevin Kelly. It's absolutely hilarious. You'll probably find that version when you look at it on YouTube. I couldn't find normal commentary of that match, but it's a hilarious match.
Before we go on, I just thought of one other one that it was one of the ones that it was so bad it pissed me off, and that was for a month in 2003. WCW or WWE brought in a ex-WCW superstar. They pumped him up huge to be like bigger than God. And it was Scott Steiner.
Oh, man.
Pay-per-view was, if I believe right, it was at the Royal Rumble.
Yes,
it was
2003.
the sloppiest match I can
that.
recall seeing. It almost, I think of good. Almost everything was a botch. Triple H couldn't carry it at all, and it was one of the, I don't know, every single thing in that match. It ended up with a disqualification.
There was like 20 belly-to-back suplexes in that match.
And everyone, Steiner looks like he's going to kill the person who's doing it too.
Yes. That's a good one to mention. Oh, Steiner.
All right, we got
Trash.
Phil, let's hear your.
You know, the funny thing about it is the Scott Steiner one, that was on my mind, and I was thinking that was one of the dodgiest matches I've ever seen in my career as well, watching wrestling, if you want to call it. But look, I've been watching wrestling for ages, man. Like, this is very, very hard for me to come up with something pathetically stupid. Like, if you wanted to go back even to the first WrestleMania or one of the earlier WrestleManias or even just a WrestleMania in general where Rowdy Roddy Piper took on Mr. T in a boxing match.
Oh, yeah.
Like, please. You know, everyone thought it was going to be a real boxing match. In the end, it turned out to be I don't know. I'm not going to say it. I just can't be bothered saying it. It was just pathetically stupid and retarded.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, Roddy Piper is ashamed of that match. Like, I've seen some interviews, and whenever someone brings up that match, he just flat out says, "Oh, I'm embarrassed of that match. I don't even
let's
watch.
just move
I
on.
wouldn't even watch it again."
Yep.
Yeah, like that's one. But then there's like, you've got a whole lot of other crappy ones. Like, when Hogan took on Sid Vicious at
Was it the
WrestleMania.
And
Yeah,
then disqualification. Yeah, I remember that one.
that was pathetic. It was like one of the most retarded matches. Like, the funny thing about it is a lot of us have mentioned Hulk Hogan in a lot of our worst matches. Isn't it funny? It's like Hulk Hogan is an icon who, like, the entire world knows. Just like how everybody knows Mario, everybody kind of knows Hulk Hogan. But no matter what he's done, everyone, he's done some really bad matches, but everyone still kind of, knows who he is and kind of still likes him, sort of. It's crazy. And but yeah, a lot of that, like that match.
Continue, Phil. Sorry.
Okay, the other one kind of that I thought was kind of retarded was when Big Show took on what was his name? Once again, Big Show, the real Akebono
In a sumo wrestling match.
Oh, God.
sumo match where Big Show was in a huge
Diaper.
diaper. Like, come
Any
on.
Big Show match from WrestleMania, I think, deserves to be on this list.
A Big Show moments are pretty sad. Like, but then you've also got anything that, most of the matches that have Great Khali in as well.
I just wanted to mention, since you just mentioned him, I forgot to mention this when we were talking about Raw. Khali on Raw this week came out to the ring, and it was all the faces of the show brawling with all the heels. Khali came into the ring. First thing he did was chop Santino.
Yeah.
He forgot he was face. And then he pushed over Sheamus, kind of. Then he was just attacking anyone. So, yes, Khali pretty much... Actually, I want to just say... what's that
Any
match?
match with Ali is a bad match.
Do you remember Punjabi Prison?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to get to that when you said when I said Khali.
that one.
Khali is just pretty much a big, dopey, plunding lumberjack, if you want to call him that, but Indian Jack, because he just has no idea, can't speak.
Anyone remember when Khali eliminated himself from like a battle royal or something?
Yeah, he stepped over the top rope. It's genius. And then he just hops back in like, that didn't happen. Nobody saw that.
I'm surprised none of y'all mentioned fake Donald Trump versus fake Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, yes, the cake to the face.
Yeah.
There's been
But
so many
that's the
terrible
problem.
ones.
That's the problem with me as well. Like I've seen so many matches for wrestling, especially not just WWE. So this is a hard one. Like this one here is really hard.
Does anyone remember Great Khali was having a dance-off?
Man.
A dance-off with... I can't remember who it was with, but midway through the dance-off, he started trying to pin the other guy. He's a dancer! And he's going for a pin.
But there's been other retards like that who are the match is you can't win by pinfall or submission and they still go for a pin.
Yeah, like Hogan.
Yeah, there's many of them. There's just too many.
Too good.
Oh yes, you remind me, David. This was Hogan versus Ric Flair, a steel cage match.
Steel cage match.
They had to escape.
Yep.
But somehow Hogan was able to pin the guy to win the match.
The best thing was that Flair tried to pin Hogan first, and the commentator's like, you can't get the pin, and the referee's like, no, you can't pin. And then like 10, 20 minutes later, Hogan gets the pin, 1, 2, 3. It's like, how?
I remember that. Yeah.
Hogan must look at the referee and like, you want your job, you'll count 1, 2, 3. I'm not quite shit. I'm too old.
Oh, God. This has been good.
So the common themes in this discussion so far, Hogan and Big Show.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they even had a horrible match together.
With a mixture of Big Show, Big Papa Pump, and the Great Khali. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So WCW guys.
Oh, if we brought TNA into this, then that would be a whole...
No, don't do it.
Let's not. All right. Oh, God, let me compose myself. All right, that's it for episode 6 of CC Powerslam. This was our Over the Limit Aftermath podcast. We will see you again in 2 weeks' time, or 3 weeks, whenever it is. I have no idea, because I am completely exhausted right now.
Chuck, you're just doing a great Kali. You got no idea.
A great
That's
Khali.
okay. I actually wasn't sure what city he was in one episode of Raw.
Oh man! All right, we'll see you next time for our No Way Out predictions.
Phil, take us away.
Take us away.
All right. If you smell what the CC crew are cooking.
All right.
Can you consider that a bot?
Oh, this has been good. See you.
Yeah, Dustin Hendricks.